Good afternoon, everyone. Nehemiah, your mic is open.
Dwayne, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it was my computer was saying my mic wasn't working.
It's working, but it's going in and out a little bit.
Yeah, there's a little. Yeah, there's a little echo.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. It's normally smooth, right?
Yeah, it's normally smooth, but now it seems like it's going in and out. Or
I mean, the volume is good, just like Dwayne said.
How about now?
sounds pretty good.
Can you hear me now?
No,
There's no this,
it
it went out, it went away.
went away a bit, but the volume's lower. Did you switch to a different microphone?
No, I don't know, Robin was cleaning up in here and I don't know, maybe she shifted some things around.
I mean, I think it's really more or less when you first start to speak, maybe the first word or two doesn't get captured, and then it just picks up. So that's what it sounds like to me.
Okay.
Let's see.
You hear a tapping? So this is not the mic.
I heard it for a second before you asked the question.
Okay, how about now?
Oh, that's totally different.
Yeah,
That sounds really good.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so gonna wait maybe 2 more minutes to give more people time to join us on YouTube. And then we'll start today's open discussion. All right. Welcome, everyone. Let's open up today's open discussion and various topics, class 120, reciting prayers for spiritual workers. Prayer for spiritual workers. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their limitations, would smite me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their weakness, would not heed me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their ignorance, would defile you through me. And I ask, Almighty God, O wondrous power, that your strength may be given to me now, so that I might be fortified by this, so that I might go forward bravely into the world, and despite reception, send forth my love of thee throughout all races of man. Almighty God, give me the power and strength to rise above my karmic weakness, the deficiencies in the pattern of my evolution, so that I might evolve and become stronger, I, and even stronger in thy everlasting light. O God, thy will be done. All right. Welcome, everyone. Again, to another open discussion and various topics. Class 120. And as per usual, feel free to post any questions you may have in the chat if you're joining us on YouTube. If you're joining us on Zoom, you can use the chat, or you can also use the raise hand feature to ask your questions audibly, and we will do our best to answer those for you. Today, we'll also continue our review of the Metaphysics 101 lecture series. So if you go to our YouTube channel, find it really quick. Switch screens. So if you go to the Mystic Knowledge YouTube channel, click on playlists, and you'll see, if you scroll down a bit, you'll see the Metaphysics 101. We finished about the first 15, say 20, maybe 20 minutes of the lecture, reviewing the transcript. From this point onward, I'll select some excerpts from it to review. Also give you the timestamps for it. Then we'll move into the second class, and then we'll move into after we finish the Metaphysics 101, we'll look at the Metaphysical Lecture Series for Beginners, 21 lessons on metaphysics. And we'll go from there, probably go into how to after that. But while we're covering some of these earlier lectures, you're still welcome to ask any questions that you may have, or you can email us some questions. Today, we'll start off with addressing some questions that were emailed to us by another student. Then after we finish that first bit of Q&A, we'll move into the continuing of the Metaphysics 101, as well as reading through the next chapter in the book, The Mystic Constitution of Man, written by our teacher, Mr. Mia Davis. So it looks like he disconnected. So we're going to wait a couple minutes, see if we can get him to jump back on. Okay, I see he's coming. All right, Nehemiah's come back on. Is everything all right, Nehemiah?
For some reason, I had a power surge that knocked out the power in the over in the prayer room where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't know if you guys can, let me stop share because it looks like it's going in and out. So we'll start off with a couple of questions that was emailed to us. And these questions are based on the material we covered last week. First question asks, do highly involved Black magicians only use their conscious mind? But do they also get ideas and inspiration, I guess, from their higher self that he's referring to there?
That's the whole question. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the whole first question.
Okay. In yoga, in yoga development doesn't belong to any one race or any one religion. Yoga is a natural thing, as Dr. King said. It belongs to all religions, and it's just a system of how it's a system of laws. Because you go into any religious faith, it's the same pattern. It's the same way H2O makes water. So one of the things we're taught, in order to properly develop yourself, you must clear out any impediments or instruction or obstructions inside the Nadi pathways. The Nadi pathways make up your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and parts of your superconscious mind. So when the thing that will make a person develop themselves in a certain way and use it for evil is the fact that they did not properly clear out those Nadi pathways. And now you in any functioning, you always using the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and part of the superconscious mind. So it's, I wouldn't necessarily agree with someone if they telling you they just using their conscious mind, because that's impossible. The subconscious mind have to use, the conscious mind have to use the subconscious mind. And the superconscious mind is the thing that erected or the superconscious mind is the thing that directed the or created the subconscious mind, and it created a counterpart of itself called a superconscious mind. So what happens is that a person has a splinter in their consciousness because they did not properly flush out or move all the infection out of the naughty pathways, which leads them to think a certain way, see things in a certain way. And what I'm talking about is the impurities. The yogis name at least 21 impurities, and those impurities can double up to hundreds of impurities, because each one of the impurities have sub impurities connected to it. You know, you can't be fearful of something without being angry, without having hate, without having some type of greed, without having some type of envy. So it builds upon itself. So although they list 21 impurities, there's hundreds, maybe even thousands of sub impurities. But they list the major impurities that allow other impurities to fester and live. So when you're developing yourself, you try to clean yourself and try to create a pathway to not allow these impurities to exist within your aura. And if they do exist, only exist for a fraction of a second or whatever, or a minute, or you have some type of method to immediately push them out. Because that's why you learn higher philosophy. That's why you learn the laws of karma, in order to combat these impurities. And then what it does, it keep your mind elevated to a point where you can't be moved by these lower levels of consciousness. But remember, you have some very, very powerful dark forces, and that rank in the level of adepts and masters. So they got there because they did not follow all the rules, or the basic rules of purifying themselves first. So I hope that answered the question.
Okay, next question. Is the subconscious mind responsible for all of our diseases by acting as a karmic agent?
I would say that the subconscious mind and the auric body, and I think I said this before, is a devic laboratory. I wouldn't say that they are directly responsible, but the subconscious mind is a functionable Lord of Diva within your makeup. That's probably a better way to say it, because the subconscious mind would not, the subconscious mind would not go against the law of karma. The conscious mind will create the energy that the subconscious mind will use according to law. So in other words, if the conscious mind falls into a Thamus type mindset, which is an inert animalistic, sometimes human mindset, then into and raging, mad, and just want to go hit somebody or slap somebody, then the result of that is the subconscious mind will allow them to feel the pain of the repercussion of that according to the force that they put out. So if they hurt somebody, the subconscious mind is going to make sure that they feel the hurt that they put on that person, and that's by manipulating the auric energies within the makeup in order to place you in a situation to feel that pain on a physical level, etheric level, and on an astral level. So I hope that answers your question.
Another question said he had heard in a lecture called Operation Sunbeam Inspires the Galaxy by Dr. George King that a few weeks after it began, many other civilizations on other planets acted in the same way. Were they also under the same limitation of time as us? So just to understand how time operates on other planets, is it in the same linear way that we know it, or what is the difference?
I really don't know, but I would guess that that time works similar here. We don't necessarily understand time on this earth, and we don't necessarily, only a few can manipulate time. So, but a lot of those worlds, and the way I understood how that happened was that the way a lot of those worlds throughout the galaxy, they were very advanced worlds and very basic or undeveloped worlds as well. But they had but a lot of them was much more advanced than Earth. And because they had the ability to see what's going on throughout the galaxy. But of course, all of them had certain limitations. And if they didn't, they would not have noticed that they had to, give back to the Earth or to their prospective planet as a karmic manipulation. So, but time is a factor of law, of karmic law. So I'm sure the karmic law works according to the realm of existence or level of consciousness that you tap into. That's how time actually works. You can go to one of the realms of Earth here on this planet, and time is accelerated. You can go to another realm, and time is slowed down. So the physical plane really doesn't understand time. So that's what I mean by that. They really haven't been able to tap into time. And that's why you can go to some of the higher realms, and time is very slow. And beings that may go there may stay there thousands of years, and only age or seem not to age. but then you can go to some of the basic realms and time moves quickly. And you go to the lower realms and times slow down as well. And that can be calculated with mathematics. So based on how the atmospheric molecules work. But that's you're getting into advanced metaphysics at that point. It's hard for people to understand. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. And I think that's all of the questions that were emailed to us. And then Will asks, where are you located in Miami? What time is the class? What time? Because I have to see Baba in person and give him a big ancestor hug. Well, we're kind of still operating on pandemic protocol in that we're doing everything remotely. Eventually, I think I spoke with Mr. Davis about it. Plan to resume meeting in person at FIU, or Florida International University, which is where I'm at right now. We use one of the classrooms on Sunday afternoon. If you join our meetup, so if you go to meetup.com and look for International Mystic Knowledge Center, and through that meetup, we announce all of our classes, all of our meetings. And if you'll look back on past Sundays, all of our recent classes have been entirely online with a combination of Zoom and YouTube. But if you would still like to come and attend in person and sit in the classroom with me, or eventually Mr. Davis said he'll come down some Sundays or come up some Sundays and meet back in person in the classroom, then you're more than welcome to do so. We meet at Florida International University. It is the University Park campus. If you reach out to me or connect with us through Meetup, and I'll give you the address and information. We also meet for services, our 12 blessing services every Thursday. Again, recently been meeting online, but we're working on transitioning back to both in-person and online meetings. So if you're not able to come in person, then you'll still have the option of attending remotely via Zoom. Right. So eventually, we're planning to go back to in-person meetings, but for now, if you do want to meet up with us, send us an email. We'll set something up where you can all sit down, maybe have lunch and talk. Or if you would like a one-on-one meeting, you can send us an email. We can schedule something where you can sit down with Mr. Davis and have a conversation with him.
Yeah, I think I remember, Will. I think we spoke on Zoom. He was in Costa Rica, and he can always Zoom me as well. We could set something up, like you said.
Mm-hmm. So are there any other questions or comments? I think today we'll finish up with class run by reviewing. I think I'll just do the first 30 minutes of each lecture class, doing that verbatim, word for word, and then the remainder of each class, I'll do excerpts from it, as opposed to reading out the entire transcript from each class. I'll still type out the transcripts because I enjoy doing it. It helps me to learn a lot about, because a lot of these lectures were given 10 years ago, or maybe even 11 years ago now. And hearing it for the first time back then, and sitting down, listening to it, and actually typing out each word, I'm catching a lot of stuff that I missed the first time through. So that's part of the reasons why I'm recommending everyone to go back, even though it may seem like it's the videos may be out of date, the information is still very relevant, still modern. So do go back, listen to those lectures from 10 years ago, 11 years ago, watch those videos again, and you will pick up a lot more information than you're able to absorb maybe the first or second time through. And if you have the time and inclination to do so, type out, maybe not a word for word transcript, but type out some of the points that stand out to you. Maybe some things you're not quite clear about, and you're always welcome to come back and ask us questions about it. It doesn't have to be specifically the lecture series that we're covering in these next few open discussion sessions. It can be any video, any content you find on the Mystic Knowledge channel or on other channels or in other texts. It doesn't have to be the books that we recommend on the mysticknowledge.org website, or from the authors that we recommend, or even from the Dear Society. It can be any body of text or source material that you come across, and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. But we do collect books, videos, author recommendations, audio lectures for you to review, to help you develop and to move along without straying too far off into the weeds or being misdirected. All right, so if there's no other questions at present, let's continue with the transcript. Now, last time I said I didn't want to go, he was transitioning from the work of the soul and moving into the part where the Shakti power is divided and we get Ida and Pingala. I had stopped there because I wanted to catch up with the texts that were also following the Mystic Knowledge, the Mystic Constitution of Man textbook. Because after he introduces Ida and Pingala and the chakra system, he then moves into an illustration of the atom and uses that as a metaphor to help us to understand some of the additional topics that he covers. And remember, in the Metaphysics 101 lecture series, it's very abbreviated in that he doesn't go too far into detail. I mean, plenty of detail is already presented in the lecture, but he skims the surface, so to speak, because it is a 101 lecture. It's an introduction to metaphysics. The textbook goes much deeper. The Mystic Constitution of Man goes much deeper into the subject matter Nehemiah presents in that 101 lecture series. And so we're using both to help us dive deeper into the 101 material covered in the lecture, to further flesh out the information and to help us to understand this complex yet ancient material. So let's pick up with the action of the soul pushing down the Shakti energy. This is around, I want to say 23, minute 23 mark. And I did say I'll go back and add the timestamps, and I will do that this week. So I want to finish up the transcript for the entire video, but I'll choose key extracts from it for us to discuss in our future classes that also correlate with the material in the Mystic Constitution of Man textbook. So what the soul does, the soul pushes this energy, this Shakti energy, down Sushumna in a pure state and brings it to the base of the spine. And the pressures of this particular chakra, the Muladhara, which is the base of the spine, it is the perfect place to tie up the Kundalini, or the Shakti power, to tie up the Shakti power and turn it into Kundalini. So at this point, the Shakti power is turned into Kundalini. By the natural pressures at this particular stage. And so in the handout that he had given us in that class, he goes into detail about that. And at this point, he's referring to the handout. He says, so what happens here, when it is turned into this, the Shakti power is curled into a 3.5 knot. And the 3.5 knot is Kundalini. In the handout, he had illustrated this 3.5 knot coiled configuration of Kundalini. And he had also illustrated it on the board, on the whiteboard. And at this point, the Shakti power is divided. And from there, you get Ida and Pingala. Ida is a negative flow of energy, and Pingala is a positive flow of energy. And this is what forms at the base of the spine. Now, what happens is the energy is separated at this stage, but the energy wants to go back to its natural state. Its natural state is combined. So what does it do? It begins to flow, and it moves in opposite directions to seek some type of equilibrium. And what it does, it goes to the sex center. It goes to the solar plex center. It goes to the heart center, to the throat center, and it goes all the way up to what I call the Christ center, which some people call the third eye. It goes through all these centers, looking to try to connect or to reconnect itself. It goes through all the major centers. It doesn't find that equilibrium until it reaches the Christ center, which is also the command center. And the Christ center gives it some type of equilibrium, but the equilibrium it gives it is not bringing it together, but it kinds of stabilizes it through creating a form of basic consciousness. So at this point, when he's talking about the sex center, solar center, the heart center, he's illustrating, he had already drawn out Sushumna from earlier part of the lecture and talked about the Shakti power being pushed down Sushumna. That when it reaches the Muladhara, it splits into that 3.5 configuration. He had drawn out the Muladhara, and then at this point, he has drawn the crisscrossing or intersecting pattern of the Ida and Pingala as it moves from each center in turn and all the way up to and terminating at the Christ center. Now, I'm not saying that our basic consciousness is at the Christ center. It's not, because the Kundalini is still operating from here, from the base chakra and the sex chakra. But what it does, it helps it to create this thing called sight, hearing, smelling, taste, speech. That's what it does when the pressure builds up after the nadis have traveled and have created 42,000 nadi pathways in order to try to create the balance that it needs. There's this tremendous pressure built up, and throughout the 42,000 pathways the nadis have traveled to create this balance. So this right here is like a relief valve in a sense. So he's talking about the Christ center, or he's pointing to Christ center. It creates this sensory perception to allow the nadis. And if you notice with this, right, what you have two sources. So he's talking about, and all these two sources, and all of this has two sources. This meaning the sensory mechanisms, which you mentioned before: sight, hearing, smelling, taste, speech. So I think about it. So, was there something you want to add, Nehemiah? I saw you unmuted yourself.
Yeah, it's actually 242,000 pathways.
Oh, sorry.
I know that audio was bad, but
Yeah, 242,000. That's right. And so this here was a question or a comment that someone had made in the classroom. The 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, the tongue, and the mouth. And said, yes, it's correct. So the pressure that's built up, there is this tremendous relief valve built up in order to relieve the pressure of the buildup of Shakti power or Kundalini power, which flows through the nadis. The question, what about touch? You said, yes, touch is the same thing. Touch is a part of taste too. So what this is that it creates the equilibrium, and then now the command center actually regulates this from the base and the sex center. From all the centers, really. But right now, we got to deal with the base, sex, and the solar. See, meaning right now he's talking about at humanity at its current level of evolution, where the vast majority of humanity, our consciousness, exists within the base, sex, and solar plexus center, or the lower astral realms, if you will. That's what it does. And of course, if you look at all of these and relate it back to here, to these 3, some type of way. So again, he's referring to those 3 centers. And sometime before them, it all relates back. So if you look at even the sight relates to the sex center and the base of the spine center, really. Smell relates to the base of the spine center. Taste relates to the sex center. Speech relates to the sex and the base of the spine center. Why do I say all these things? Can anyone figure out why? And someone says speech is consciousness, it's a limitation. It says, yes, it's a limitation, but consciousness is its limitation, but it's consciousness and it's sexual. All right, at that point, the video cut out and jumped forward to another section. And so from here, any questions or comments, anything you want to add, Nehemiah, before I switch back into the text?
No.
So all of that was within the first, these 4 or 5 pages. That was a transcript of the first 30 minutes of the Metaphysics 101 Class 1 video. From here on out, I will complete the transcript, but I'll just go through excerpts while we also continue reading through Mystic Constitution of Man book. I believe this book will cover both classes 1 and 2, or we'll use classes 1 and 2 to help us cover the Mystic Constitution of Man. And if it moves into subject material covered in other lecture series that we're going to cover, and we'll come back and review those. All right. So let's move into the Mystic Constitution of Man text. Last time we had covered, I believe, 4 and 5, and and stopped halfway through chapter 5. Yeah, we stopped here. Now the video is available. As I showed you earlier, you can go back and review the videos. The transcript, as it's incomplete, is not yet uploaded to our shared folder. And this book that I'm reading from is not yet published, so it's not yet available for you to download or purchase. But once it is complete, we'll let everyone know. And it's published, we'll let everyone know and give you instructions on where you can pick up a copy. And in the meantime, you can pick up Mr. Davis's first book, The Ancient Language of the Soul. We covered that book. This was the first book we covered in what was the series called again? The book study. Sorry. Yeah, the first book we covered in the book study series. I read through the entire book, and we also took some time to pose some of the questions and dive deeper into the material with the author himself in the subsequent open discussion classes. So you're welcome to pick up a copy of the book, as well as look at those videos in the study session series where we read through the entire book and add it to your collection of study material. So chapter 5, continuing on. The Devas are loyal servants of the lords of karma. The Devas have been mistaken as angelic beings, but they are a race of beings whose sole purpose is to strictly work within the laws of karma by manipulating the energies brought about by the thought and actions of mankind and all other life. The Devic kingdom takes the energies that have been conditioned by the thoughts and actions of mankind and manipulate these energies in order to create and maintain the environment that we live in, strictly according to the laws of karma. Prana is a Sanskrit word that means absolute energy. Prana is the universal principle of energy or force. Therefore, all energy is derived from it. Prana is exhibited in all living things and so-called non-living things. We are told in the ancient Eastern teachings of yogic philosophy that prana radiates from a universal supply, absolute of God, throughout the universe, galaxies, and through the central sun of each galaxy, and down to the solar logos, the suns of each solar system, and out to the celestial bodies or planets, such as Mother Earth. Within this all-pervasive pranas or cosmic energies that radiates from the absolute, God, these pranas are expressed as the 5 modifications of cosmic energies, which are known as the 5 major pranas, or in Sanskrit terms, the Mahabhutas. The outpour of these Mahabhutas from the absolute starts the involution process by subdividing into these 5 Mahabhutas. These 5 major modes of motion within prana, Mahabhutas, can be described as the central impulses which keeps matter in a certain vibratory state. The mighty sun, being the central impulse for our solar system, sustains all life in the solar system, which these pranas radiate through it from the absolute. Each prana has a certain quality and is vibrated from the mighty sun every 32 minutes. The mighty sun releases the great and holy sacred word, the AUM. This word is the creative sound of the solar system. The sun releases this holy sonic vibration every 32 minutes. The quality of this word encompasses all power and all quality of sound. When this creative sonic vibration is released from the sun, it carries with it the 5 major pranas that are radiated throughout the solar system and beyond. The 5 major pranas, in Sanskrit term we know as Mahabhutas, carries the following Sanskrit names and describes the etheric qualities of the prana. Number 1, Mahabhuta quality as Akasha. Its nature is superfluous. Its realm is ether. Type of motion, space, and its quality is etheric and sound. The second Mahabhuta is Vayu. Its nature is tangiferous. Its realm is ether. Its type of motion is locomotion, and its quality is air and touch. The third Mahabhuta is Tejas. Its nature is luminiferous. Its realm is ether. Its type of motion is expansion, and its quality is fire and color. The fourth Mahabhuta is Apas. Its nature is gustiferous. Its realm is ether. Its type of motion is contraction, and its quality is water and taste. And the fifth Mahabhuta is Prithivi. Its nature is odoriferous. Its realm is ether, and its type of motion is cohesive resistance, the quality of earth and smell. Each one of these pranas and its many sub-aspects raised within it have a diva connected to it. These pranas are defined as the 5 rays, as the fire rays, the sun rays, and the moon rays. These rays assist in the involution process from cosmic ether to subtler etheric matter to gross matter. Ancient translated doctrines on this subject describe them as a 360 diva rays that manipulates the rays through the manas, the mental substance that is being influenced by the thoughts and actions of man. In respect to the diva rays, in their assistance in the evolution process of man's body, referred to the Serpent Power book by Arthur Avalon by Sir John Woodworth. Let's look at the table 7, the petals, the tattvas, sensitive matter, and the Granti knots. I think this continues on, yes. So we'll look at the first, which is the base of the spine chakra, or the Muladhara. It contains 4 petals. The name of its tattva is Bhuta. Its sensitive matter quality is earth. Has 56 tattvic rays. Its quality or group name is fire. And its conversion point is the Rudra Granti. Next, we have the sex center, or the Svadhisthana. It contains 3 petals, with the name of its tattva being Agni. And its sensitive matter quality, fire. It contains 62 rays, tattvic rays, and its group name of its reflective quality is Agni Kanda. Next, we have the solar plexus, or the Manipura chakra. It contains 10 petals. Its tattvas is apas. Its matter quality is water. The number of rays, tattvic rays, is 52. And its reflective quality and group name is the sun, and this one belongs to the Vishnu Granti conversion point. The heart center, or the Anahata chakra, contains 12 petals. The name of this tattva is Vayus. Its sensitive matter quality is air. It contains 54 tattvic rays and belongs to the Surya group. Then we come to the throat center, or the Vishuddha chakra. It contains 16 petals belonging to the Akasa tattva. Sensitive matter quality is ether. There's 72 tattvic rays, and its reflective quality and group name is moon, and its conversion point is the Brahma Granthi. And then we finish up with the Christ center, or the Ajna chakra. It has 2 petals. Name of its tattva is Manas. Its sensitive matter quality is mind. And 64 tattvic rays, and its reflective qualities and group name is Chandra. The table above outlines the chakras and their Sanskrit names. In addition to the names of the chakras, it describes the 6 energy configurations within the chakra. Each one of the following energy configurations within the chakra serve to slow down the pranas by solidifying it. The energy configurations are the chakra petals, or sonic vibrations. The name of the major tattvas for each chakra, the number of the tattvic rays, the reflective qualities and group names, and the conversion points of the chakras to form the Granthi knots, which are the strings of tattvic matter groups that we spoke of earlier. The table is based on the information gathered from the Serpent Power book. Right? The terrestrial flow of prana. Once the pranas reach the earth, the Akasa prana aspect acts as a mother aspect as it surrounds the earth and conditions it to receive the other pranas. As the earth rotates on its axis and orbits around the sun, the pranas express the positive and negative aspects. The positive prana radiates through the earth during the daytime while sunlight is visible. And during the nighttime, the sunlight rays are reflected by our moon and other planets, creating the negative reflective aspect of the prana. Positive prana travels from north to south and east to west through the earth and its surface. The negative prana travels south to north and west to east through the earth and its surface. The rotational flow of energy that the earth receives from the sun helps to create the existing realms of the earth, subtle and physical form from this all life on earth was able to form. The prana develops 2 centers of action of gross matter that assist the soul in forming the human body. The centers of action of gross matter gather around the northern and southern centers. The northern center develops into the brain, and the southern into the heart. The point at which positive and negative pranic radiation converge or form which they appear to diverge is the central line. Or from which they appear to diverge is the central line. The central lines are also the Sushumna, the positive prana that travels in a rightward direction, and negative prana that travels in a leftward direction, together creating a neutral flow of prana called Sushumna. This is a good place to mention that in several of the ancient tantric texts translated in the last 100 plus years ago has also stated that or describe the heart region as the original base, vortex center, or chakra. This means that the heart chakra represented the original plane or realm of existence that mankind lived and worked from. And let me explain this subject a little further here. The flow of prana, or cosmic energies, on the surface and inner core of Earth actually describes the realms of existence. Each concentration of flow of prana produced from the Mahabindus manipulates the Nada Shakti powers that are radiated from the sun, creating the various realms of existence. The earth collects Shakti power and builds it into the subtle and physical realms of existence through the manifestation of several forms of cosmic fire brought forward from the logos of the earth. The physical aspect of this and some of the subtle physical aspects can be seen in nature every day. The plant life collects sunlight using this power to extract the raw minerals from the earth, turning it into nutritional substance that is used to nourish the animal and human life. The plant life also manufactures oxygen and releases it into the atmosphere. At the same time, it absorbs the carbon dioxide from the animal and human life. This process helps to build, form, and maintain the life on Earth as we know it. The radiation of the sun heats up the ocean, turning a portion of it into steam, releasing large quantities of water into the atmosphere, creating the weather patterns that produce various qualities of life throughout the earth. And the next table describes the chakras, the corresponding Mahabindu regions, the bijas or seed mantras, and the corresponding realms of existence, along with the petals. So we'll start at the top, number 7, the Sahasrara chakra, or the crown center. Its seed mantra is the AUM, and it contains the 1,000-petaled lotus. Number 6, the Ajna, or the Christ center. And its Mahabindu region is the Rudra, or moon. Its seed mantra is OM. It has 2 petals, and its corresponding realm is the Tapo Loka, or the perfected realm. Next, we have the Vishuddha chakra, or the throat center, also belonging to the Rudra, or moon Mahabindu region. Its seed mantra is HAM, containing 16 petals. And its realm is the Jana Lokar, or the casual realm. Next, we have the Anahata chakra, or the heart center. Its Mahabindu regions is the Vishnu, or the sun region. Its seed mantra is YAM, composing 12 petals and belonging to the Mahar Loka, or the balance. Then the Manipura, solar plexus, also belonging to the Vishnu, or sun Mahabindu region. Its seed mantra is RAM, composed of 10 petals, and it belongs to the Swah Lokar, or the subtle realm. Then we come to the Svadhisthana chakra, that is the sex center. It belongs to the Brahma, or the earth Mahabindu region. Its seed mantra is VAM, composed of 6 petals, and it belongs to the Budvar Loka, or the astral realm. And then we come to the Muladhara chakra. That is the base of the spine center, also belonging to the Brahma, or earth Mahabindu region. Its seed mantra is LAM, composed of 4 petals, and it belongs to the Burloka, or the physical realm. The human flow of prana. The human flow of prana can be described from the nadi as the nadi system. The nadi system can be described as subtler lines of force that are the background of all manifested consciousness. These nadic lines of force are the positive and negative flow of pranas. The word nadi has the root Sanskrit word nad, which means to move or flow. The positive vital flow of prana travels on the right side of the spinal column and carries the name of Pingala nadis. The negative mental flow of pranas travels on the left side of the spinal column and carries the name of Ida nadis. As these Pingala and Ida nadis intersect, a level of consciousness is possible for expression. These nadis number up to 238,000 nadis, with about 10,100 branches that extend even further. For great details on this, see the Nature Finer Forces book. Sorry, for greater detail. The Pingala nadis are the subtle flow of positive energies. Pingala nadis also can be said to represent the arteries, the positive flow of blood charged with oxygen. The Ida nadis are the subtle flow of negative energies. And the Ida nadis can also be said to represent the veins, the negative flow of blood charged with carbon dioxide. The sun aspect of both the Pingala nadis and the Ida nadis, working within the blood vessels, the moon rays that reflect from the sun, represent Sushumna, the nervous system. The prana may move either way, right or left, under certain conditions, sometimes both ways. An aspect of Sushumna is also that place where the prana changes from the right to the left and from the left to the right. On the physical level, it's both the spinal canal and the cardiac canal, and in Sanskrit terms, it's called the Brahmananda. Actually, no, Brahmananda, yeah. Before any of the above activities within the human body can take place within the Brahmandas, the eggs of Brahma must come into play. The absolute Brahma exhales, and the current of this great breath, the pranas or mahabhutas, moves forward within the mighty framework of the Absolute's presence. The pranas have various powers and qualities that is unfolded by the forward motion within the great current of the Brahmic breath of involution, a wave that involves Brahmic substance, a solidification process. When these 5 major pranas or mahabhutas enter the body, it is identified with different names and functions. The following table came from the book Kundalini, written by Swami Shivananda. Table 8, major and minor pranas. So the prana Udana, containing a violet blue color. Its location is the Vishuddha chakra, or the throat region. This function is degulation. Regulation takes the jiva to Brahma in sleep and separates the physical body from the astral body at death. And its minor prana is a devata, or it does the yawning. That's the sub-prana that's associated with Udana. Next major prana is prana. Its associated color is green. Location is the Anahata chakra, or the chest region. Its function is respiration. And its sub-prana or minor prana, naga, does eructation, an act or instance of belching and hiccups. Next major prana is samana. Its color is yellow, and its location is the Manipura chakra, or the navel region. Its function is digestion, and its corresponding sub or minor prana is the krikara, which induces hunger and thirst. Next major prana is Vyana. Its color is orange-reddish. Location is the Svadhisthana chakra. And its region circulates throughout the entire body. And its function is the circulation of blood. And its minor or subprana, Dhanajaya, causes decomposition of the body. Then the fifth major prana is Apana. Its color is rose red. Location is Muladhara chakra. Its region is the anus, and its function is for the discharge of urine and feces. Its sub or minor prana is Kurma, and it performs the function of opening the eyes. Or opening and closing the eyes. The solar plexus chakra is the storehouse of prana or cosmic energies. It is the conjunction point of prana. In the science of pranayama, there are 5 major pranas mentioned, which are prana, apana, samana, udana, and vyana, as stated in the above table, which names the 5 major and minor pranas. The major pranas seem to govern the subtle flow of cosmic energies within the subtle bodies and the human body, and the minor pranas or subpranas are brought into manifestation to assist in making various actions possible within the gross physical body. The compaction points of the major pranas are the chakras. The compaction point of the major pranas at the chakras is the flow of prana and the flow of apana. The first major flow of prana travels up and down between the solar plexus chakra and the throat chakra continuously. The second major flow of prana, apana, travels down from the solar plexus chakra to the base of the spine chakra and back to the solar plexus chakra continuously. As the first major prana ascends towards the throat chakra from the solar plexus, the second major prana, apana, moves from the base of the spine chakra to the solar plexus chakra. When the prana falls from the throat chakra back to the solar plexus chakra, the apana flow of prana falls back to the base of the spine chakra. In basic man, the karmic pressures don't allow these 2 pranic forces to completely join together. When man has purified the nadi pathways that carry the prana and apana energies, a balancing of these pranic forces is karmically allowed, then the combined force activates the Manipura chakra, the base of the spine, and accentuates the power of this chakra to give man the ability to operate. No, actually, not sorry, that's the wrong chakra. Gives man accentuates this power and gives man the ability to operate on the higher levels of consciousness. Manipura is the solar plexus. In the practice of pranayama, one of the main goals is to balance these two major pranas through the control of rhythmic breathing, which encompasses an even flow of inhalation and exhalation of breath and measured retention of breath with the incorporation of concentration and visualization. The control of prana and apana helps to gain control over the other three major pranas, which are samana, udana, and vyana. Samana is a major prana that is mainly concentrated in the navel area. The udana major prana is concentrated in the throat area. The vyana major prana is located throughout the entire body. If you were to study any balanced pranayama system of exercises, you will notice that they activate the 5 major pranas, which essentially assist in purifying the nadi pathways so man can operate on higher states of consciousness. The soul pulls in the 5 major pranas, tattvic modifications, and subdivides them into 36,000 pairs, creating the Pingala nadis and Ida nadis that equals 72,000 nadis, of thin tube-like lines of force, and push them through the solar plexus center, the Manipura chakra, and then branches off onto 10,100 branches. These branches move into all directions, identifying over 100 major, minor, and minute chakras, vortex petals into the soul's essence, the bindu. As these nadi branches off, they expand and become smaller nadis and greater in numbers until it reaches over 200,000 nadis. The 5 major tattvas, modes of sonic motions of prana, modified into what is called the 5 major pranas, which are prana, apana, samana, udana, and vyana. Then these modified pranas modify themselves again, creating 5 additional pranas that operates on a negative pranic level, which gives the nadis its power over gross manifestation. As shown above in table 3, the 5 minor pranas in Sanskrit terms are Naga, Kurma, Krikara, Devadatta, and Dhananjaya. These 10 pranas are manifested, processed, and distributed and regulated through the chakras. The human body has several ways of collecting this pranic force or cosmic energies, sustain itself on the physical and mental planes of this gross manifestation. The brain absorbs the mental substance of this modified prana in several ways. The brain acts as a magnetic force over prana and mind substance, attracting this mental energy from the surrounding atmosphere and the mind belts of the Mother Earth. It also acts as a magnetic electronic instrument within the physical body and its subtler counterparts, where it regulates the mental energies through the physical nervous system and the nadic system, which is considered the subtle nervous system. The nadi system defines or locates the chakra system or the different points of consciousness, the bindus of each chakra, embedded deep within the mental bodies of man. The nadi system lays out the pathways of the cerebral, spinal cord, and its nervous system, which is a partial aspect of its manifestation. The nadi system also could be considered the immediate subtler background power for the cerebral, spinal cord, and its nervous system. The voice box is also another physical organ that has an ability of translating mental modified cosmic energies into gross modified energies that expresses itself in various levels of sonic vibrations. It also transmits various forms of modified sonic cosmic energies, pranas, into the gross physical subtler realms of Earth. In the later lesson, we go into great detail on this ancient and sacred science of sound, which in Sanskrit is expressed as nada, sabda, and vak. Another two physical organs that manifest the power of this subtler pranic force modified as sonic vibration and a gaseous substance called oxygen and carbon dioxide is the heart and lungs. The heart and lungs share in the responsibility of distributing subtler and gross cosmic energies throughout the physical body, mental and subtler bodies. The heart pumps the oxygenated body into the circular system that operates the artery system which circulates it throughout the entire body. The heart also pumps blood that carries waste products called carbon dioxide out of the circulatory system and then operates the vein system into the lungs for its exit. The pumping action of the heart uses its sonic vibrational force, which is another form of modified prana. The physical heart controls and sustains the life within the physical body with its sonic beats. The mystical heart, which is located 6 inches in front of the breastbone within the etheric body, also sustains life within the etheric and subtler bodies with hundreds of various sonic vibrational signatures that the adepts describe as 1,000 bells ringing when the adept raises Kundalini to the heart center, the Anahata chakra, in a deep state of meditation. This peal of bells within the Anahata chakra is also the subtle configurations behind the lungs and respiratory system. Just as the absolute God released the word, a sound vibration, the central sun and our sun within the solar system releases the word and also creates life, to also create life, sustain life, and maintain life. Within the human makeup, the spirit releases the word and manifests the soul. Then the soul releases the word and it creates vortex portals to the essence of itself. Then these vortex portals release the word to assist the soul in creating the nadic system. In the formation of the nadic system, the vortex portals or chakras are further defined by this nadic system as the nadis define the positive flow, Pingala, and the negative flow, negative pranic flow, Ida, as it intersects these opposite forces and creates man's 3 major states of consciousness: supraconscious mind, subconscious mind, and conscious mind. This subtle sonic vibration, sound, is a carrying agent for the sustaining vital life force, prana, throughout the whole body. Each chakra releases a sound vibration or a series of sonic vibrations that configures the pranic forces or vital life force to slow it down in order to bring about a gross manifestation of this prana and increase the flow of mind substance, which brings about a lower state of consciousness. Let me stop here to see if there are any questions or comments. Okay, we'll continue. The next set of major physical organs that is influenced by the solar plexus chakra is the stomach, small intestines, large intestines, the liver, the spleen, the pancreas, the kidneys, and gallbladders. All the organs mentioned above share some type of responsibility in storing, processing, and distributing raw energy throughout the physical body. The solar plexus chakra, the Manipura chakra, is the subtler configurations behind these organs, and its main function is to store cosmic energy within the etheric and subtler bodies to bring about gross manifestation. The next subtle influence over the internal physical organs is the Svadhisthana chakra that gives subtle energies to the male and female sex organs. It sustains life, initiates life, and maintains life on this gross physical plane of existence. The final major chakra that we will address in reference to the human body is the Muladhara chakra, located at the base of the spine. This chakra gives power over the lower chakras that are never mentioned in reference to man's existence because they are the chakras that the animal kingdom has to control. This chakra initiates consciousness. It is here where the spinal column begins, which gives a free flow to the thought waves that use the spinal column as its superhighway to manifest this mental and vital energies as audible, coherent sound, language, and intelligent functional movement of consciousness and unconscious movement, which is voluntary and involuntary movement. In the ancient tantric doctrines, the Muladhara chakra is noted to have the power of gross existence. It's the realm that brings about the division of time, kala, past, present, and future. With this division of time came the division of the great Shakti consciousness from one to the many, which create two major flows of energies with a static quality of power and a dynamic quality of power. The static flow of power that's divided at this Muladhara chakra possesses a mental nature that permeates the flow of cosmic energies called the Ida Nadis. The dynamic flow of power that's divided at the Muladhara traveling in the right direction possesses a vital life force nature that permeates the cosmic energies, that permeates the flow of cosmic energies called the Pingala Nadis. The word nadi is a Sanskrit word which has a root word, nad, that means to flow. The nadis describe the type of energy flow, the quality of sabda, specific sound, power, and the direction of flow of cosmic energies. This left and right flow of energies brings about a series of forces that aid in creating gross manifestation. It is here where the soul reenacts the power of the four trinities that I spoke about in the 4th chapter. The next chapter on the chakras and the nadic system of the human body, I will go into greater detail on how the sabda power influences the subtle energy centers, or the chakras. Okay. That completes chapter 5. Chapter 6 is on the power of Kundalini and the vehicle of consciousness for the soul. But I do believe we have caught up to the point at which we stopped in the lecture, Metaphysics 101, Class 1 lecture. And we'll continue on with this. The book continues on to go into even more detail on the information that's presented in the lecture, as well as future points in Class 1 and in Class 2. I think we'll continue on with that next time. Do we have any questions or any comments or anything you want to add, Nehemiah?
Yeah, I want to ask, you think that was too much in one chapter?
Yeah, I was thinking that because in ancient language of the soul, you did the cosmic and solar system and in one chapter, and then you broke the human flow into its own chapter. And I was thinking, I probably want to do the same thing with this book as well, breaking off the human flow of prana into its own chapter.
Or maybe do, I don't know, maybe section it off. Because the last part was, it's a lot of information, but I tried to combine it into to make it flow quicker. But listening to you read it, it seemed like a lot of information.
Yeah, even in Ancient Language of the Soul, I think those are one of the longest chapters in the book too.
Yeah. Bernard, what you think? You think it was too compacted or what?
I mean, it's pretty dense. I think it just all depends on where people are currently at, you know?
Okay.
It's a lot to extrapolate. So you can, if you were to expound on that one chapter, you would have a lot of material to work with.
Right. That's why that's why I tried to compact it. I thought it was be too deep to go into. But then that's what a lot of the I didn't want to get into it too much because a lot of the people who practice dog magic, they use that information.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't want the wrong person to get a hold to it and go in the wrong direction. I was thinking about introducing it again later on. After I pass certain information that talks more about, divine law and whatever.
I did have a question here about the flow of prana through the earth. And it seems that we mostly, or we're taught to mostly orient ourselves with the positive flow. We're told to sleep with our head pointing north and to pray facing the east, which aligns with the positive flow. Do we never utilize that negative flow of prana, which flows in that opposite direction?
Yeah, that's why they want the feet to be on to the south. And then in the breathing exercises, you in the evening you breathe, you face the west with certain breathing exercises.
Oh, okay.
So in the evening, when the sun set, you turn to the sun and you do the retention of breath and facing the west. In the morning, you do the retention of breath facing the east.
Okay.
And then you sleep with your feet to the
south.
And your head to the north.
But if you sleep during the day, should you reverse that?
No.
No? Okay.
That's the magnetic line. That's the magnetic line of the earth. for nighttime, I think, or it's associated with nighttime.
Mhm. Any other questions? I did have another question, but I'm trying to find where. I should have marked it while I was reading. Well, I'll find it and ask next time.
Well, I see you struggle with the prana and apana section.
Prana and Apana. Yeah, because it had reminded me of something you had mentioned a few years ago, and a question I had had. I was trying to hold the question while I was reading, but now I don't remember. Oh, well. All right. Well, if there's no further questions and additional comments, we can wrap up today's session here.
If you want to suggest some edits before I do this, either you or Bernard or Lucinda, let me know. Bernard, did you hear that?
Yeah, I just have to reread it on my own.
Yeah, you could send them a copy.
Okay.
And Lucinda and Janelle, yeah, they, because they help me edit the book sometime, or some of my stuff. So, because I know I get carried away in a lot of this stuff.
There was something at the last paragraph where you go into a little bit about time.
What, Kala?
Yeah, Kala, the vision of time at Kala brings out past, present, and future. And I thought back to Jack's question that you had asked earlier, and your response to that. But that division of time, Kala, doesn't only happen at the Muladhara chakra, right? That can happen at any center.
Yeah, it happened in the center. Remember, there's an evolutional part of our existence, and then there's a evolutional, or what people call evolutional part of our existence. So, when the soul began to form the various bodies and move us through Shushuna downwards, move our consciousness downwards. It goes through many barriers and limitation of time. But by the time we reach the Muladhara chakra, we're actually locked into this conscious mind existence that separate time by past, present, and future, or present, past, and present, future, which have us living in the presence, and we're not aware of the multiple levels of existence. We're only aware of where we are at that particular time.
So that's why a much more highly evolved being, like when they say the Saturnian masters looked into time and had saw the inevitable result of our actions, and they decided to send intervention, they were, from their higher perspective, they can look into Kala and see the full picture, even beyond, we are.
It's like standing on a huge mountain or building, looking down, and you could see someone headed somewhere, and you could see this huge roadblock or cliff that they're going to fall off. And then you can notice that they don't see it, but they're moving at a regular pace until they get there and fall. So and because a person with no limitation of consciousness. Remember, when you gain control over Kundalini, and you begin to move into what's called the layer yoga of Kama yoga. I mean of Kama yoga, because all yogas are Kama yoga, because Kama means action. The layer yogas of Kama yoga and Kundalini yoga, you move to dissolve consciousness. When you dissolve consciousness, then it's like you're setting at a level where you can see multiple realms of existence all at once. It's like the great Lord of Kama, Mars Sector 6, came into orbit of the Earth, and he recognized that the greatest population of the Earth lived in the lower astral realms, because he can clearly see multiple levels of realms of existence and realms of consciousness. So that's so he's not limited by time or by space, which speaks volumes, But that's remember Kama. I remember the yogis that was given, the yoga sciences that was given us. First is wisdom, which is Jnana yoga. Then you have Kama yoga. Then you have Bhatha yoga, and Bhatha yoga is a yoga of devotion. Kama yoga is a yoga of divine laws. Then you have Raja yoga, and Raja yoga is the yoga of mental control. And then you fall into the other yogas, which is the physical yoga, the hatha yoga, and you fall into prana yoga, into mantra yoga, into mudra yoga, and then you go into cryo yoga, and then cryo yoga leads you into Kundalini yoga, and then Kundalini yoga leads you into layer yoga, and Kundalini yoga is what cryo yoga is divine action. It's falling is trying to place everything, because cryo yoga is action yoga too, but it's to create a format of how you're gonna live your life, with the divine rhythm, and then that leads you to Tantra yoga, and then Tantra yoga have you to loom all the yogas together. And then Tantra yoga leads you into Kundalini yoga, which is an awakening. And once the Kundalini is awakened, then it must go through the layers of the chakras. And when it goes through the layers of the chakras, it one by one, it dissolves consciousness. So, and each level of chakra, each chakra level is a level of consciousness, and consciousness is limitation, and consciousness also is mind. It's mind and time. It puts you in a frame of mind and time. So it limits you into a space of time, each level of consciousness, until you dissolve that consciousness. and you go to each level, and then until you're not limited by time anymore, until you're living in a what's called in a risen state, in an avatar state.
Mhm.
And with the avatar and the risen state, you can move through any level of consciousness or see all of them at once. So at that point, like I said last week, you begin to merge your for lack of a better word, for lack of a better word, you begin to merge your consciousness with other things, because you already merged, because
Mhm.
that's why you could see all things, you could feel all things, but you amalgamate together in order to reach a greater level of reach
Mhm.
and influence, in order to push evolution to a level where where you can control humanity and move humanity in the right direction. And that's what the Cosmic Masters does. If you think back, they talked about Senate Kamara when he came to Earth. He came to Earth, and they built the city of Shambhala for him. And they built the city of Shambhala in order to contain his full aspect. That's why it was built on the etheric realms.
Mhm. Mhm.
And when they built it, they brought 40, the theosophical teachers tell us 48 other cosmic masters, what they call bodhisattvas, came to help create that manipulation. And then when Seneca Kamar came into the city was like a body for him, like, because it lit up, it responded to his movement.
Mhm.
And people described him as being as a being, but you can always see a light around him and everybody that was there to guard and work on his behalf. But
Mhm.
when he moved across the earth, they say he split his consciousness into 6 different parts that went in different directions,
Mhm. Mhm.
because I would think it probably wouldn't be safe for him to move uh, in his full aspect. So it's just he was aware of all the realms, of all the major realms, and they go into further explanation and said that other cosmic beings or bodhisattvas came and took up residence on each level, each realm of existence, in order to help stabilize those realms. It's like Dr. King talked about the Watcher of the Night,
Mhm.
how if a cosmic being was a particular place, certain things couldn't happen.
Right.
So they took up residence on all the realms of existence. And then some of them sacrificed themselves because they knew the earth had made a great sacrifice. So also some of them, they took up residence. The earth had 49 chakras. They said the cosmic beings position themselves around those 49 chakras to protect the earth.
Mhm.
And stayed there for probably thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, until the stabilization of energy was brought about by the Senate Kamar, which we know that he was there at least 18,600,000 some thousand years. So that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
When you read and study what she said, what the Tibetan from the Great White Brotherhood that spoke through Alice Bailey described all of that.
Uh-huh. And that stabilization process is still ongoing with the Lord Buddha taking on.
It's still ongoing. Yes, it's still ongoing. It's still ongoing.
So it was July the 8th, that releasing of the energy, was that to allow the Senate Kumara to retreat from their position slowly as the earth stabilizes itself?
No, that happened in 1956. I believe Dr. George King was one of the first to talk about it, but it was talked about later in other books and by the Buddhist organization and some of the Hindu organizations years later.
Mhm.
that Senate Kumar had left, and the Lord Buddha had became the new Senate Kumar of Earth. But that was a great manipulation. I think Dr. King described part of how it happened,
Mhm.
because you had to have, why they did the ceremony of the switch, you had to have multiple cosmic masters come to take his place while during the transition of the Lord Buddha coming in.
Mhm. Right, the last question I had was, and I said that the chakras represent realms of consciousness. And I was wondering if those conversion points, the Granthi knots, represented the major aspects of man's consciousness, meaning the conscious mind, the subconscious, and the superconscious.
No, not necessarily. No.
Okay.
They represent the conscious levels of the adepts and the masters, if you want to look at it like that. Because once the student bring about a conversion of the two lower of the two lower chakras, which is the sex center and the base of the spine and the sex center, he or she is a young adept. And then when he brings and then when he or she bring together the solar plexus center and the heart center, they are an adept. And when they move to the last, they are a master and a avatar.
Okay.
They are a young master and an avatar. So those conversion points, what it does, it locks, and they have total control. That means that the petals within those chakras have been fully meditated and fully open
Mhm.
and merged together in order to create a higher level of consciousness that they can intersect with on a regular basis. So the impurities in those levels cannot necessarily influence them, but
Mhm.
can be manipulated by them. In other words,
Okay.
because now it becomes a pure vibration and chemical substance to allow them to enter back into that level of consciousness or exit that level of consciousness or manipulate that realm of existence. The same way we may take water and turn it into tea.
Right.
All right.
Okay, I know I went a little bit over, but are there any final questions or comments before we close out today's class? Welcome, Andrea. Thank you for joining us. All right, if there's no further questions or comments, let's go ahead and close out with reciting of the New Lord's Prayer. the new Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power, to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up, and in doing so, receive to their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength, so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. Oh, great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for your attendance, your participation. Do go back and review Metaphysics 101 series at your leisure. We'll see you next time, and have a great week.
Thanks, Dwayne. Thanks, Nehemiah.
Yeah.